going out there tonight?
Well, you stumped me now.
Check out our website, mannimalresearch.com. Thanks to everybody. Hello. How's it going out there tonight? Hope everyone is doing well. Mr. Jasper Walls is supposed to be with us. He knows the routine by now, but has not started his camera just yet. But
I'll be right back.
He'll be on with us in a second. All right, as everybody can see, tonight I will be joined, as always, by my partner in crime, Mr. Jasper Walls, and also our very good friend and fellow researcher, Mr. Daryl Owen. How's it going tonight, Daryl? Glad you could join us, buddy.
Thank you, sir, for the invite. Hello, everybody, and thank you for having me on.
Awesome. We're having you on. Everybody, know that everybody's familiar with you that watches our show. We talk about you quite a bit and rely heavily on your expertise and everything. And you are the one that actually sent us our guest tonight. So there's Walls, looking handsome as ever. I gotta say, buddy, that's an improvement. I like that.
Now show us your fingernails.
This is.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Okay, just keep that on, buddy. That's an improvement.
All right, that works for me. I can still talk in it.
I forgot what I was even talking about, man. I lost my train of thought. Anyway, thank you, Daryl, for being on tonight. You sent us our guest tonight, and we are just so very excited to have her on. And really been looking forward to this one for a while now. Walls, how's it going, buddy?
Pretty good.
All right. The mask don't mess with your microphone, so that works. Just keep that on.
Yeah, I can still talk with it on. This is what I use when I go out to wrestling.
Yeah.
But
I like it.
We gotta also everybody could also say happy birthday to Wayne because yesterday was his birthday. I did Thursday, so we can do it today. And I know that I didn't make it today, but our good buddy Eric got baptized this morning, so that was pretty good. Oh, look at that. Good picture of it. All right.
I did. Everybody, just real quick. No, I don't talk about it all the time because it's not the platform, the place for it. I don't push religion on anybody, but a little over a year now, I've really I've gotten stronger in my relationship with the Lord and just felt like it was time to take that next step. And my birthday was yesterday and could not think of a better birthday present in this world than to go ahead and take that step, the next step in my faith. So happy to do that. So yeah, thanks for mentioning that, Wolf.
No problem, bud. What's up, Daryl?
What's happening? What are you eating?
Small calories.
Is that what it's called? Small calories?
Yeah, it's just small little patty, plain patty.
All right. Well, everybody, let's get all this out of the way like we do at the start of every show. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so yet, guys. We are continuing to grow, nowhere near where we want to be. So tell your friends, family, tell everybody, come over here and check us out. Hit that subscribe button when you do. We get done tonight, head over to mannimalresearch.com. Check out our website, our neglected website. I haven't updated in a while, but it's coming, I promise. I got a lot of things I need to add over there. But head over to mannimalresearch.com. Check us out. And also, we are on Facebook, Mannimal Research on Facebook. Go check us out. And again, guys, watch that spelling on Mannimal. That's Mannimal with 2 N's instead of 1. All right, and also want to talk a little bit about our Mannimal Encounters segment that we are opening up. Basically, it's just a chance for people to email their encounters in. Not everybody is comfortable coming on a show like this and having your face on video and having everybody watch them and ask questions and stuff like that. So for those people, it's still important to share what happened to you. So for that, for people like that, we ask that you just email your encounters, and that set up a special email for it, and that's mannimal@yahoo.com. And what we're going to do is we're going to start a segment there once or twice a week. We'll get on and read some of those encounters to you guys as well. So yeah, guys, appreciate it. If you have any encounters, know anybody that you could tell about it, send them our way, because we're not going to be able to do this unless we start getting some more encounters in. So yeah, guys, help us out there. All right, all of that out of the way. What's been going on with you gentlemen? Daryl, what's up? You been going out in the woods any?
No wood stuff. Usually work. Went a couple of times down to the haunted kids park down in was it Alabama, somewhere down there.
Huntsville.
Yeah, Huntsville. Didn't see nothing. Both times. First time got rained out. Second time it's too cold to stay out there, so we headed back home. But not a whole lot going on here. Work like everybody else. Following Jasper in the mid early mornings while I'm sitting at work watching him drive his truck. But not a whole lot of the Bigfoot stuff. We're in the process of moving a lot of Bigfoot stuff around, and I've donated a lot of my footprints, and I've kept the select few. So, but we're doing good.
Okay, good deal. What about you, Walls? No, you ain't been out doing anything. You've been working too much.
Yeah, pretty much, and all this winter storm hitting. So. But I mentioned to get back out there. Been looking at different areas, just kind of looking around, but.
Yeah, we'll get back out there before too long. I need to set something up where, I've been out with you several times. I've been out with Daryl once. But we gotta work it out so the three of us can get out and do something. We live too close together and too good of an area not to. We gotta start putting all the excuses aside, and the three of us just finally get out there and do it. Y'all agree?
Yeah. Oh.
All right. Well, let's talk about tonight's guest. And Daryl, you could probably help me with this. I should have asked Dev. I don't want to butcher her last name. So can you help me with her last name?
I can't help with her last name because I am too afraid of butchering it also.
Well, we will let Dev tell you all her last name when she comes on. But Dev is a very, very impressive lady. She lives out in California. She is the Region 1 Director of the North American Dogman Project, the NADP, and she is also the Assistant State Director for Northern California MUFON. And MUFON, for those of you that aren't familiar with it, stands for Mutual UFO Network. So she is the Assistant State Director there and Regional 1 Director of the North American Dogman Project. So she stays busy. So she'll be talking a little bit tonight about the UFO stuff and probably quite a bit about the Dogman stuff. She sent me a couple of pictures of a new encounter that she took out in California, and I'll be sharing them with you guys tonight. They're pretty impressive, we think. Pictures of a possible Dogman. And she'll be reading over some of the reports, and she's also working on a book that's UFO related. We'll let her talk to you guys about that. So if you guys are ready, we will stop our talking and just bring her on. What do you think?
Good.
Did you get that one I zoomed in on?
No, I wasn't able to get it on. I'll see if I can.
Okay.
I saw the picture.
I zoomed in as far as it could go, just about. So.
Okay. Miss Dev, please tell everyone your last name, please, ma'am.
It's pronounced Rugne, so the G is silent.
Okay.
So Rugne.
All right, Miss Dev Rugne, how are you doing tonight, ma'am? We are so grateful to have you join us tonight.
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. We've had this planned for a little bit now. Had you booked for a little while, and to be honest, I've really been looking forward to this because Dogman is something that I'm not as familiar with, and I'll just go ahead and tell you because my very first question to you is going to have something to do with this topic. I had always been under the assumption, or it's been my belief, that a Dogman was just a misidentified Bigfoot. And I've come to think that it might be a little bit more than that now. But I'm sure you've heard that before.
Yeah.
Tell us what you think a Dogman is, and in relation to a Bigfoot. If there are any characteristics, similar characteristics.
Well, what's interesting is the Dogman basically has characteristics that would be different from Bigfoot based on its physique. Many witnesses talk about the Dogman having broad shoulders and a really big chest, where the chest comes down to a thinner waist, and then the thighs are massive and very muscular. And sometimes there are different types of Dogman. Like some will have the legs will have like dog hocks, the legs of a dog. And sometimes they're being seen without the dog legs. And but they're probably people, and here's the thing: when people have perceptions, when they look at something, they're guessing about weight and height based on the surroundings. So a lot of times they're around 7 feet tall. Sometimes people say 6 feet. Some people say 8 feet tall. The weight, they are estimating between maybe 400 pounds. Some people think they're 800 pounds, depending on how tall they are. So it's perception. They don't, they're not sitting there having it step on a scale, so they don't really know.
Yeah.
But this thing is massive as far as its arms and its legs. They're very muscular. And I would think that most of your Bigfoot sightings, they're more of a broad bodied with a lot of hair, and it would have obviously a thicker body, and not of the Dogman where the waist, it comes in smaller in the waist, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the obvious thing is the snout, like a dog, like a German Shepherd or a wolf. They're seeing a snout like a dog, and the ears are straight up on top of the head. Sometimes they'll say they're a little more on the side, but they're very pointy with a little tuft of hair at the tip. That really is distinct than what the Bigfoot would have. They're not having pointy ears, correct? You're the expert on the Bigfoot, right? They're not having these pointy ears up on top.
Now, have you ever seen a Dogman yourself? Have you witnessed one?
No, I have not.
Okay. Yeah, I've researched Bigfoot, and I've never seen a Bigfoot in the daytime. I think that I got a thermal. I think we got a thermal hit one time. We're pretty confident in saying that, but never seen one in the daytime. So that's not uncommon, I don't think. So what I've heard reports on Dogman about the legs being kind of turned backwards, like a dog's. Is that common?
Yeah, there's a lot of reports like that. Yes, depending on again where they're seen. If they're standing behind maybe a tree, if they see it in tall grass, they may not be able to see that portion of their legs. Their hands too. A lot of people will say that their human hands and with claws, really like probably 3-inch claws on like what would be like more of a human hand, and not like a dog's paw at all.
Okay, so these things tend to have more of a human hand. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And can you decide? Can you describe their tracks for us? Because when you think of Bigfoot, you just think of a big human footprint. No, what do a dogman's track look like?
It would look like a dog. I mean, of course, it's bigger, but you could see the claw marks in the track. All the ones
Okay.
that I've seen. If people are interested to go on the NADP, the North American Dogman Project website, Jody Cook actually has a lot of pictures of different tracks, like in the snow as well, and
Okay.
they can see the different tracks. Now, people that join the NADP, depending on where they live. Now, I control 11 states in the West. So that's Wyoming, Utah, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, Colorado, California, Nevada. I also cover Alaska and Hawaii. Now, if anybody lives in any of those states, they would be and join the group. They would and became an investigator. They would need to fill out some release forms and then be part of the team. And then anytime we have a case in any of those states for me, that's under my jurisdiction, I would get notified, and then I would get a hold of anyone, any of our investigators in those states to go out and do an investigation. So.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. That's how long has the organization been in existence, Dev?
Shoot, I don't know. It's been about 4 years, I think, that I've been. It's hard to remember like how far back. I'm pretty sure I think it was 2016 that I joined.
Okay. Okay. And how many members would you say you guys have? Anyone? There's no way of knowing.
No, because we actually ended up trying to clean up the roster because a lot of people did not give us correct information, like valid email addresses and stuff, or phone numbers or addresses that we can contact them. See, it's important that we have that information so that the regional directors can contact their state reps and their investigators, so that we could tell them, hey, we got a case, we need you to go out, and we get the state reps to get a team together of their people in that state. And so we need contact information. So a lot of that was null and void, and we had to clean up the roster. So I don't know what the total amount of people we have.
Okay, that sounds the whole platform of the NADP sounds a lot like what we're trying to start with Mannimal. I've talked Jasper and Daryl know all about that. That's what we're trying to do. We've got investigators in several states, and that's really cool. It's a really cool concept that you guys have going on there, and it's one that we're trying to get started here, and it's been a little more difficult than we had anticipated.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really.
We have regional directors. I think I think there's 5 regions, and if you go onto the website, you can see all of us regional directors. There's pictures of us all, and then there's a map that shows the breakdown of what states are covered by those regional directors.
Can I ask a question? Hey, Dev.
Go ahead.
What's the origin of the Dogman? Is it a shapeshifter? Is it a Wendigo? I mean, how did we? I mean, it's not a werewolf. Is it You know, it's not a guy getting bit by a wolf and changes every third full moon. Where did the origin start? How did this all begin?
Well, that was something that Jody Cook, the founder of the NADP, him and I actually had a conversation about that. And you know, if you go back into history, there's even books, I think, that are out talking about werewolf types. And this has been, this kind of creature. And, here again, when it comes to stuff that we don't understand, human beings, we give it a lot of different names, and it depends on how far back, like I refer to flying saucers. That terminology was really big in the 50s, flying saucers. Then we went to UFOs. And, everybody has, and like right now, the big terminology now is UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon. Well, with the Dogman as well, we call it Dogman, but, a lot of people will refer to it as werewolf. And there's other names too, but if you really think about it, back in the Egyptian times, one of the gods was Anubis, and he was very dog-like, like a dog head, but a body of a man. So there's arguments of, well, could that have been a Dogman type entity? Now, my of the evidence and the research that I've seen and heard is that both Bigfoot and Dogman have been seen in conjunction with UFOs. So are they coming from UFOs and they're dropping them off, and or another thing too is that there's a lot of times people that have witnessed these cryptids in the field that they just disappear behind like a bush, and then that's it. And they'll go and they'll look and try to, where did it go? Where did it go? And it's gone. So I have a theory that they're coming in and out of portals. So
yeah, that's interesting.
Because do you guys ever wonder, because you're Bigfoot researchers and stuff, if they, depending on their lifespan, we don't know, why don't we ever see any dead ones? Why are we not seeing one that just died of a heart attack?
Well, I think the speculation is they bury their dead, and or they are interdimensional creatures. They can teleport in and out. And I myself, and I've talked to you about this before, where I've seen one footprint in the snow. I mean, in the middle of nowhere, they couldn't go anywhere, couldn't jump 300 meters to a tree, but there was Bigfoots there. I mean, there had to be something there that created a footprint. And in regards to, I'm kind of going to step back a little bit, okay, Dev? When you talk about being a MUFON person and a Dogman person, when you take both reports, and I know the MUFON report is extremely lengthy. I've actually have the manual. Ruben has graciously made me an honorary member of MUFON. But with a MUFON sighting, when you get a report and somebody reports, oh gosh, no, it wasn't a little green alien guy like I have over my shoulder here. It was actually a Dogman or a Bigfoot. How do you combine the two stories together? I mean, I know you go out and you talk to the witnesses, but do you ever think, I mean, you just said it, but there's actually a connection there. And how do you relate to the people? How do you explain to them and show comfort? I have trouble showing comfort because I believe in both sides, that they're human, they're real, and on the other side, they're interdimensional and they're spiritual.
Well, that's a good question. You know, we get very few. I don't think we really have any cases. Well, I haven't taken any cases. Now you got to understand, Ruben, who is my state director that Daryl brought up, we have a team of investigators here in Northern California, and everywhere that in the United States and abroad, MUFON has investigators to their states. And so I don't get every single case. Now, what I do is I'm privy to all of the cases that come in. So in Northern California, I see every case that comes in as far as UFOs from MUFON. And so when I get somebody who has seen something that they can't explain, or it's bothered them, it can get emotional, especially if it's a close encounter. And their number one thing is they want to know, did anybody else see it? You know, or if it's like if they felt like there was an abduction, an alien abduction, then you know they're scared. And we do have a specialized team within MUFON called the ERT team, which is the experiencer research team, and we have many people within that team that can really address abductions, abductees, and handle a lot of their psychological effects as well. But I think the best thing you can do is listen to them, and you know, you don't have the answers, and that's what they're looking for. They want you to tell them what it is. Well, what proof do you have that, you know, well, in the case of UFOs, there isn't any physical evidence. It was hovering there in the sky and now it's gone. So all you have is witness testimony. But in the case of a Bigfoot or a Dogman, if there's tracks, now you have physical evidence. If they say, well, what was that? Well, this is what we call it. We call it a Bigfoot or a Dogman. If they wonder, well, let's say that they don't even have any information, or they didn't really know about these cryptids, they're going to be looking to you as the expert and wanting answers. But if there is physical evidence like footprints, or let's say some hair on a wire fence, you know, we can have that analyzed, whatever. But we can't really answer their questions, but we can be supportive by at least you showed up to do the investigation, you show that you're interested in what they have to say, and you document it, and you be a good listener, because there isn't anything else you can do.
Right. So within your region of NADP, of your states that you have control of, have you ever taken any reports of anyone being hurt or mauled or bitten or anything like that?
No. We have a few sightings here in California, and we had recently somebody put in a report into the NADP, and is here in Washington State. And I have the state rep there working with the witness, but because of COVID, you know, trying to get out there, and then they really had some bad weather because it happened right when winter was beginning up there, and Washington State gets inundated with snow every winter. And so right now that the case is still being worked. But no, I haven't heard anybody claiming that they were attacked or hurt. You know, it's scary enough to see these things up close.
Yes.
And when people do come across them, in person, up close like that, they're pretty much running from their lives anyway, trying to get out of there.
Thank you, Dev.
Yeah, now, Dev, I've got kind of a two-part question. In your area and also nationwide, what states tend to have the most Dogman sightings? First in your area, the 11 states you cover, and then more of a nationwide thing.
It seems like Washington State, believe it or not, California. But I don't know how familiar, Wayne, you are with California. I know that Daryl used to live here, but you know, California, you know, we have good weather a lot throughout the year, and that's probably why we have a lot of UFO sightings, is because people are out 365 days of the year, unless it's really raining hard or whatever.
Yeah.
But we're out, you know, we don't. And there's a lot of areas that don't get snow, so people are out and about, and we have a lot of sunshine. So, but California has forests, we have lakes, we have the ocean, we have mountains, we have desert, we have it all.
Mm-hmm.
We have all the terrain that you can think of. So, you know, it's not just forests that people would see the Dogman. It's out in the desert. Yes, in the forest areas as well. But you know, a lot of the research that I've done in others for other states is that, like Texas, boy, Texas, that's not one of my states, but there's a lot of activity out there, and they're not afraid to be in the residential areas. Those things could care less if you're around. They're looking for food. Shelter, just like anything else, and they're seen a lot by water, and that would be just like anybody or anything. We all need water.
Yeah.
So if there's a water source, you know, that's an important thing as well.
Now, what about? I've always heard Michigan was
Yeah,
Dogman country.
and or Ohio. Yeah, and Jody Cook lives in Ohio.
Okay, okay. And Jody
So
Cook is the founder.
yes, he's the Dogman guy. You know, he has
Okay.
a lot of experience. He goes out. He's gone out a lot. So yeah, he's right there in Ohio.
Okay. Now, do you want to talk a little bit about these cases that you've been working? Show the guys, the audience, a couple of these pictures, and talk about what you found.
Yeah, so like just to give let me I'm gonna kind of read a little bit off of the report that I did on this one sighting. This the location was up in the Jedediah Smith Redwoods State Park, up in Northern California. It's about 9 miles east of Crescent City. And Crescent City is kind of close to the coast. I went up there to check out that area. So this Redwood State Park, the Jedediah Smith, is a 10,430 acre park, and it has a lot of redwoods. Okay. Now, the witness that went out there, he went on to the Stout Memorial Grove Trail, and it's kind of like a loop trail near a river, and there's a lot of dense concentration of some of the largest trees in the area. Now, this witness, he was 65 years old, from Washington State, and he was on a multi-state road trip, traveling north back through California. And this happened on May 7th of 2017. So it was about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. He wanted to go to this this area, the Jedediah Smith Redwood State Park, because he's a big Star Wars fan. And he wanted to stop there take pictures of the tree where they filmed the Ewok scene of the movie Star Wars. So that's why he was out there with a camera. So so he drove into the redwood forest on a dirt road and noticed that there was a few cars leaving as he came in, but there was 3 other cars parked there. So there was other people in that area. So he took off on foot, and it was relatively quiet. And he heard 2 men talking. And he saw them to his left, and then he veered to the right. So again, the path was really quiet. So about 15 minutes into his walk, he heard kind of like a roar or a growl. He said it sounded like 2 wolves fighting. And it was kind of a deep sound. And he said the sound made the hair on his arms stand up. So he he ended up walking out towards the loop, and about 20 feet down the path he saw a dark figure standing in the forest. He stopped and looked at it. He said its body, he felt like he was so frightened he wanted to run. That's what the instinct was. And he said it was strikingly all black, about 7 feet tall, and it was standing on its hind legs. And he said the weight looked between 250 to 400 pounds. He said it looked like a bodybuilder. He said it had a long muzzle and long pointed ears with tufts on the end, really long arms with a big chest and a smaller waist. A branch covered a portion of its face. It was about 30 yards away. He said, he said to me, you know what? This was not a bear. He said, it looked like a werewolf. So about 25 seconds into looking at it, he took a picture of it with his Samsung cell phone. And he walked another 10 to 15 feet and took a second picture. He said the creature was now facing him. And then he just kind of started to walk away. He wanted to get out of there. And he was looking 360 degrees. He was just like looking all around, because he said, he wondered if there was another one out there. So then he hightailed it out of there and got to his car in the parking lot. And the cars that were there when he arrived were still there. He said it was getting late. So he said he was out there for probably about 45 minutes. So that was the sighting. So what's interesting is, when I did the investigation, it was really an interview, because I couldn't get him to come back down, because he what he does for a living is he is like a fisherman up in Alaska. So from Washington State, he'll go up to Alaska and work, and then come back home to Washington. So getting him to come to California, is not easy. He was in California for a reason. He was traveling back through when he decided to stop there. So I went ahead and...
If I can interrupt you for just a second, this is a pretty good question from Chris Brucham. Any smells associated with Dogman like Bigfoot? Did he get reports of smells?
No, he didn't report the smell, any smell of any kind. And, you got to remember 30 yards away, what was the wind direction? If he was upwind, depending, how all that.
Do you typically get, is that a common thing though? An odor? associated
Well,
with Dogman encounters?
there's been reports where they have found where they laid, like they've made in a bed area or whatever, and they're, or if someone has come into really close contact with them, it's like rotting flesh smell, and that could be because they're eating deer out there, and I don't know. That's what the research kind of points to. The smell, like wet dog too, like a wet dog smell. But I took those pictures when I asked him, "Can you send me the originals?" And getting the original photographs is so important because then you can run metadata to find out what the EXIF data comes up with, because you could tell, it will tell you whether a photograph has been manipulated or photoshopped. So he sent me the pictures on April 18th, 2018, and I looked at the metadata, and yes, they were original photographs. They had all of the EXIF data, and there was no indication that these pictures were tampered or photoshopped or anything.
Wow.
So if you look at those pictures,
Let's pull them back up.
The creature could be it could have been moving slightly because its weight looks like it's been distributed on one side. According to the witness, the creature's face was. So then he said he walked 10 to 20 feet more before taking the second picture. And in this picture was taken vertically. The creature looks more erect with its weight looking more distributed on both legs. He said this is when the creature was looking at him. So it looks like there was a 5-second time lapse between pictures, according to the metadata. And the view of the trees are shifted to the right. So you can tell that he moved, the man, the witness, before taking the second picture. So, those are the things that you look at. When you have multiple pictures, you can kind of then see if he shifted over like he said he did, like he walked away and then took the second picture. So, but I was, what I did was I turned around, and this man was very sincere. I really didn't think he was trying to hoax anyone. He really believed it was an unknown animal. He said, I'm telling you right now, that was no bear. That was no black bear. It was very black, but it was not a bear. Now, I tried to call the Hyuchi Information Center over there by that state park, and because I wanted to talk to some park rangers. But I got a recording that gave me a different number to call, and I called that number, and I couldn't get through, so I left them a message to call me back. They never did. It's difficult when you're trying to get information, and these people are not being helpful in your investigation. So, but I did some research, and there are black bears in that forested area. But bears are everywhere, right? I mean, it's not like, hey, that's something different. Bears are everywhere. And if there's a food source, animals, including Bigfoot and Dogman, they're looking for food just like any other animal. They're not going to McDonald's or anything. They're trying to get food and water, shelter. Come on. But my conclusion is it could have been a black bear. We don't know, but based on what he photographed and what he said he saw visually, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, here's the thing about pictures, especially with UFOs too. You know, people will say they see something, they'll take a picture of it, and then they'll say, well, here's the proof. It's not the greatest because what I saw with my naked eye was so much better and clearer. And that's the thing about pictures. Pictures don't have, can pick up the ambient light that our eyes can. You know, our eyes can really focus in on detail, and pictures, you know, depending on the pixelation and how good that camera is that you use, it's really hard to distinguish what you're really looking at. You know, I see a lot of these pictures that people will go out in the field and take, and then they'll circle it saying, oh, there's a dark mass in here. Well, what's that? Well, I don't know. What can we see?
Are you reading this question, Dev?
Yeah. Have the photos gone through pixel manipulation enhancement? I don't know even what that is. Chris, uh, basically, I'm using a free program online that just will tell me whether this is an original photograph, and it will give me information like when it was taken. Because if the witness tells me, oh, I took this in 2017, but then verbally tells me, oh, this happened in 2015 or something, and now we have a discrepancy. It'll tell me the time of day. It'll tell me the camera they used. It'll also tell me down further, and with the EXI information, it will tell me if it's been manipulated. It'll say any programs that were used on those images. So that's what I'm looking at. I myself, I don't have anything that's elaborate to check any other kind of pixel manipulation or anything else. I'm really busy. I have a lot of cases that I'm doing, plus I'm writing a book and you know, trying to handle all of the 11 states that I am responsible for in the NADP. So I'm pretty busy to sit there and just focus on one picture of something. Basically, I prove it's an original that wasn't manipulated.
Yeah, that's understandable. It's understandable. Daryl, you got anything else for Dev? You got any more questions? What about you, Walls? You've been quiet tonight.
Well, you kind of answered some of the questions, or you kind of said the questions I've been wanting.
I wanted to say one thing. One of my California investigators for the NADP is a guy named Javier, and he lives down in the Fresno area. He actually had a Dogman sighting near Avocado Lake and Kings River, and that's kind of a hot spot for Bigfoot. And he was out there with his cousin, and he had his this is at night. He was out there with his night vision goggles, and he turned around toward the hills when he saw something moving on all fours coming down the hill towards him, and he's looking at it through night vision. But he said he could see the muscular arms, and he thought it was a Bigfoot he was seeing because it was huge. And he said that he could see the outline of it, but he couldn't see the face. As it came down towards him, it kind of raised its arms and then was kind of like circling back around to climb back up. And he said that those arms were so muscular, and he could see that the hands were like finger-like. They were more human. He didn't really know what he was looking at. Because he was out there looking for Bigfoot. And anyway, he goes on to saying that it turned to the side and he got a side profile of it, and he actually saw a snout and pointy ears. And that's when he was kind of wondering, wow, I don't think this is a Bigfoot. What the heck is this? And anyway, he just went on to saying that it ended up climbing up really, he said this thing moved really fast, and it moved up over the hill and then out of sight. But he might be somebody that you may want to have on your show. And he does have a YouTube channel called Cryptid 559.
Cryptid
So he is active.
559.
Yeah, he is Cryptid 559 on YouTube, and he's very active. So
Okay, yeah. Do you know him personally?
yeah, he's one of my investigators for the NADP.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
he saw a Dogman, he started to do research because, again, he was out there looking for Bigfoot because there's a lot of Bigfoot in that area. And when he saw this, it didn't look like a Bigfoot. So he wanted to know, well, what the heck is this thing? And he started doing research and started to come across Dogman images and stuff. And he ended up signing up with us.
Yeah, I mean, if you talk to him and can set up the introduction, you'd be happy to talk to him. Get him to come on.
Yeah. So so he, like I said, he's pretty active in the field.
Okay, and I've got a question here for you.
Mm-hmm.
Deb, what got you into your research?
For Dogman?
I'm assuming.
Okay. Well, I had an interest in Bigfoot because I always wondered what it was. And I was doing some research about that, like, what is this thing? Is it real? And then when I was doing Bigfoot research, because I wondered if it had anything to do with UFOs, like in convention, in conjunction with UFOs being seen with, UFOs, and it was. Then naturally things were starting to, during my research, I saw people were talking about this werewolf, and I was thinking, well, I didn't know werewolves were real. I thought that was just a Hollywood thing. So I started to get more into well, what's Dogman? So I started listening to Dogman encounters with Vic, and just was really interested in the different cryptids. Because here in California, they're all, what else is being seen out here? It's pterodactyl.
Pterodactyl.
Yeah, those big birds that look
like prehistoric dinosaur birds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I started to get into that. Wow. So California, we have there's several cryptids out here. So it was very interesting. And I was very, interested in, because I was born in the States, so I wanted to know, well, what are the areas that all these are being seen at? So I was just digging into the research.
Okay. And you were
yes, Wayne, because we didn't think about Dogman until that one last big camp out with Janice, and it was sneaking around in some of our investigations, but we didn't really step into it until now it's getting more and more into it now. So
that's true. The first time I ever reached out to Dev, I don't think that we were ever able to get together on it. Daryl actually put me in touch with you. One of our investigations, I heard this vocalization that scared me like nothing else, and somebody had recommended or made the suggestion that it might have been a Dogman. So I did want to ask you if you're familiar what type of vocalizations they make, because the one that I heard sounded like a combination between a dog's bark, and a laugh like a hyena. It was like the most evil laugh you've ever heard in your life, and it was close. A lot of people have said coyote. I've never heard a coyote sound like that. I have never heard recordings of coyote sound like that. So I don't know. But what kind of vocalizations do you tend to get reported?
Well, believe it or not, like a baby crying or a woman
Wow.
screaming. Yeah, they seem to lure. It's like they know that if they make a sound like a baby crying or a woman screaming, you know, we're gonna go check it out.
That's terrifying, ain't it?
Yes, it is. That's because everybody is. If anyone hears a baby out in the woods crying, someone's gonna go, "Oh my God!" You know, I got to go make sure that the baby's okay. If they're hearing that, or a woman screaming, you know, you want to make sure that she's okay. So time and time again, I was hearing about that happening, and that's just that's crazy. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, yeah. That's like playing to our emotions, kind of our us being like good people, you know,
These
like
things are
using that
smart.
against us.
These things are smart.
We got a good question here. I think a good question from Chelsea. What should you do if you run into a dog man?
Well, I think your natural reaction is to run. Some people say not to run, and a lot of people won't turn their back on it because you know their fear level is. And you know, some of the most toughest guys that are hunters that hunted all their lives and they're armed to the teeth. You know, they got weapons on them. There's been many who have given it up going back into the woods and out in the field because they used the word terrorized. They were the terror that they felt. They just said, "I'm not going back out there."
Yeah, you hear that a lot, and then in the Bigfoot research too. Men that have been in the woods their whole lives, just outdoorsmen that's pretty much dedicated their lives to the outdoors, they just give it up. And you hear about hunters selling off all their guns and stuff, just completely giving up on the woods for running into stuff like this. All right.
Yeah.
What's that, Walls?
That wasn't me.
Oh, all right. Well, we're coming up on an hour. Coming up on an hour, Dev. Is there anything you wanted to talk about? Give your book a little plug. I know you're working on a book that's UFO related, right? When can we expect that?
Yeah, I'm trying to. I'm trying to get it done. It's kind of slow right now. You know, trying to get I'm just so busy. I'm trying to find time to, you know, stop everything and just get back into writing it. I'm trying to make sure it can get done by the end of March. I'm really wanting it to get done by March, the end of March. But it's about my UFO investigations, and it's a little bit of a personal look on me as an investigator and how also in the book it's kind of like explain how I found out I'm an experiencer as well.
Okay. Do you have a title for the book yet?
It may change, but it's currently what I'm looking at is it's called a personal look at my UFO boots on the ground UFO investigations. A personal look.
Okay.
So that personal look really means that I'm going to be talking about my life and all of my side paranormal stuff that happened to me that I didn't really realize that was bringing me to the conclusion, and then I have gone under hypnotic regression and have discovered that I'm an experiencer as well.
Oh, wow.
And because I've been an investigator, a UFO investigator and researcher really my whole life.
Yeah, that would have been interesting to get into a little bit. I'll tell you what, whenever your book comes out, we'd like to have you back. Come on and promote it a little bit and talk a little
Okay.
bit more about the UFO stuff, if you don't mind.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
and
great.
speaking of UFO, a week from tonight, guys, we have Ruben that is going to be on. Ruben is, what is his official title with MUFON?
He's the state director for Northern California, MUFON, but he's also involved in the international side of cases as well.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. So, yeah, and again, Daryl is friends with him as well and set that up for us. So he got us, you and Ruben in back-to-back weeks. So we're grateful for that. But Dev, can't thank you enough, ma'am, for coming on.
Okay. Well, thank
And
you so much for having me.
yes, ma'am. I feel like we all learned something a little bit more than I know. I learned more than I knew coming into it. And the pictures are awesome. And yeah, whenever we get done, if you would hang tight, because there's something I wanted to ask you off the air. Okay.
Okay. Sure.
Okay.
Thank you
So,
again.
all right, Dev. Thank you so much for being on, and have a good night, ma'am.
You too. Bye, Daryl.
Bye, Dev.
Bye, Walt.
See ya.
All right, guys. Good show. Good show. Glad we finally got her on. There's something to this Dogman stuff, guys. I'm telling you, when I first started doing this, you can ask Walls. I didn't really want to pay a whole lot of attention to the Dogman stuff because Bigfoot keeps us busy enough, and I didn't think that there was anything to it. I just thought it was a misidentified Bigfoot. But with all the reports and encounters and stuff that are going on, there's got to be something more to it, and I'm glad that there are people like Dev and like that organization that are dedicating some time and some manpower to getting out and looking into it.
Yeah.
During
Sounds like a pretty big organization.
doing cryptid research, we shouldn't be so closed-minded either.
Exactly.
No.
I mean, there's cryptids. I mean, I just did a post a few days ago that we live in the Appalachians. I mean, the Appalachians have got some weird backgrounds that go way back.
I know it. It's weird that you posted that because Jordan and I, my fiance Jordan, we were just talking about the Appalachians and how big it is, how far stretched it is, and just all the weirdness to it.
Yeah, and I
we
put
live
that,
right here on it,
and we were in it. Yeah, we're right in the middle of it. So I mean, we even drive out, just a few blocks from where we live, and we're right in the middle of the forest. So Appalachians, there's some weird things going on in it, and anybody that lives along this 1,500 miles of the Appalachians, get out there and do some backpacking or some hiking or some walking. Keep your eyes open. I always say at the end of my post, keep your eyes on the horizon and in the trees. I believe that. I believe that the Appalachians have got some weird creatures in it. Bigfoot, Dogman. There's just
you hit it right on the head.
Right.
Yeah, get out, do some backpacking, get some exercise, get some fresh air, and while you're doing it, just keep your eyes open. Look for something that maybe shouldn't be there, and you might see something pretty cool.
So I do want to tell you guys, thank you very much for having me back. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for the invite tonight, and I will definitely be seeing you next week. Ruben Urardi is the Northern California director of MUFON, a very personal friend of mine. I talk to him on a daily basis, and I will tell you that there is a connection between UFOs and Bigfoots, and I promise you we'll get into that. I have a couple of good questions for him. Ruben has. I've talked to Ruben, sat across the table from him and shook his hand, and we've had dinners and we've had lunches together. So he's a good guy. He really is a good guy. Very knowledgeable too, by the way, of the UFO parties. But I do want to thank you guys for allowing me to have a guest come on. Okay.
I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, it's our pleasure, man. I'm glad that you were able to get these guys because they're pretty impressive people in this field that we're all passionate about, and it's not just Bigfoot related. It's all crypto and also UFO stuff. We're all passionate about it, and the more
Even
people
though,
we talk to like this, the more opportunity we have to learn.
even though all of our stories are from California, my stories are from California because that's where I've done most of my research. But you know what? We still live in the United States. And if you open up a United States map, you can see every cryptid that's ever been seen. And it's nationwide for Dogman, Bigfoot, the swamp monster, the skunk ape, the Momo. I mean, the Mothman. You just go down the list. So, but they're all out there.
That's right. That's right. Walls, you got anything before we get out of here, buddy?
No, I'm good, man. That was a good show. Pretty much.
All right. Everybody out there that joined us tonight, we had Duke from World Bigfoot Radio, which reminds me, this Thursday, guys, tune in. Duke will be live with us this Thursday night. So that's always fun when Duke hangs out. So, Duke was here tonight. We had Bomber, Gene Hudson, Lockbeard, Kirk Selzer, Jay Crave Dog, a lot of the usual Squatching Cowboy. Old Bear was here for a little while. Guys, thanks so much for your support, for all that. Got Sandra W. She was active tonight. Thank you, ma'am. Guys, thank you so much for your support, all that you do. We wouldn't have a show to put on each week if it wasn't for loyal people like you that tune in every week and show us support. Get to watch Walls just giggle at everything. Everything's funny to Walls. It's like a kid, man. I'm telling you. Anyway, guys, y'all have a good night. And we will see you next time. See you Thursday at 9 o'clock, and then a week from tonight at 8 o'clock. You guys be good, safe, and take care of each other. See you next time, guys.